The signal came through at midnight. Earth's deep space listening station, buried under layers of ice in Antarctica, caught it first. A weak voice, full of fear, spoke in broken English. "It's awake. It watches. Don't come. Don't. Follow." Then silence. Total silence. Commander Ellen Reyes sat in the dark briefing room, staring at the frozen screen. The message repeated in a loop, each time sending chills down the spine of her entire team. "Who sent it?" she asked. "A Zarn-class vessel," said Dr. Imari, the lead linguist. "Alien, but they were using old Earth dialects. The signal came from a dead moon near the edge of Sector 9. Nothing's alive there. At least, not anymore." The screen changed. A rotating image of the moon filled the room. But it wasn't the moon that scared them. It was the structure half buried under its surface. A perfect circle, massive, metallic, and glowing. "It's been there for centuries," said Colonel Briggs. "But now it's open, and no one has come back?" Ellen asked. 13 missions. "From 6 different alien races," Briggs replied. "None returned, not even debris." Ellen leaned forward. "Then it's time we send humans." The ship Vanguard landed without resistance. It was quiet, too quiet, like the moon itself was holding its breath. The structure stood in the center of a deep crater. Half swallowed by dust and time. It looked like a door, a massive one covered in strange symbols that shimmered in the pale light. The team stepped out in full armor, every movement watched by silent stars. Dr. Imari scanned the door. "These symbols. They're changing." Colonel Briggs looked closer. "No, they're translating into English." Right before their eyes, the alien markings shifted, twisted, and reshaped themselves into Earth's written language. "Welcome. Humanity is expected." "Expected?" whispered Reyes. "Who the hell is expecting us?" Then the door opened. No sound, no warning. It just opened. The hallway inside was made of black stone that seemed to breathe. Lights flickered on as the team walked forward, triggered by their presence. The air was breathable somehow. The floor was warm. "This wasn't built for aliens," Briggs said. "It was built for us." They moved slowly, weapons drawn. Every few meters, the lights grew dimmer. The hallway twisted in unnatural angles, and time felt strange, too fast, then too slow. Ellen tapped her gums. "Stay sharp. Don't split up." But already, someone was missing. "Where's Lane?" Dr. Imari turned in panic. The young engineer had been just behind them seconds ago. His tracker blinked once on the HUD and vanished. "Lane, respond." Ellen shouted. No reply. Just static. Then a whisper. "Help me." It came from all directions. They rushed down the hall, trying to follow Lane's signal. The path shifted with each step, leading them in circles. The walls pulsed with red veins now, almost like skin. Dr. Imari stopped. "This place is alive." "What?" Ellen asked. "Not just active. Alive. It watches us. It listens." As if to prove her words, the lights flickered, and a recording began to play. It was Lane's voice. "I can see you. Why can't you see me?" Then silence again. Briggs scanned the area. No body. No trace, just his voice. The team pressed on, shaken but determined. They reached a chamber unlike anything they had seen. Floating above a circular platform was a sphere, black, reflective, spinning slowly. Around it, holograms flickered. Alien ships, human DNA strands. War footage from Earth's past. "This is a memory core," Imari whispered. "It's learning from everything, from everyone." Ellen stepped closer. "Why?" Then the sphere stopped spinning. A soft voice filled the room. "You are different. You adapt. You survive. You are the key." The crew froze. Briggs raised his rifle. "Who are you?" "I am the Vault, the last defense. I was left behind, waiting for the right species." The walls lit up with images of past missions. alien teams entering, all being torn apart by shadowy, unseen forces. One by one, the lights blinked out. They failed. They feared. But you walk in with courage. A new door opened behind the sphere. Beyond it, only darkness. Should we go in? Imari asked. Ellen took a breath. We didn't come all this way to stop now. The doors sealed behind them as they entered. Inside was a narrow bridge stretching over a pit of endless black. The only light came from a pulsating orb above them. Suddenly, something moved in the shadows, a shape, humanoid, but wrong. Its limbs were too long. Its head twisted unnaturally, and its eyes were human. It spoke with Lane's voice. I'm still here. Briggs fired, but the bullets passed through it like smoke. Then the shape screamed. Not in pain, but enraged. The room shook. The bridge cracked. Ellen shouted, "Run!" The teen bolted across the bridge. The creature gave chase, hovering over the pit like a ghost. At the last second, Ellen turned and threw a pulse grenade. The explosion lit up the chamber, and the creature vanished into the dark below. They slammed through the exit door, gasping, trembling. Back outside, the structure behind them sealed shut with a loud thud. The lights died. Silence returned. Crew stood in the dust, looking at the sky. Dr. Imari broke the silence. It let us go. Ellen nodded slowly. No, it wanted us to see, to survive. We passed the first test. Briggs asked the question no one dared say aloud. Then what's next? Behind them, carved into the surface of the moon where the door once stood, new words appeared. This was only level 1. The crew had barely recovered from what happened outside. Lane's voice, the shifting halls, the creature that looked almost human, it all felt like a bad dream. But Commander Ellen Reyes knew the truth. It was only beginning, inside the ship. Vanguard, they held a short briefing. Everyone looked tired. Eyes hollow, hands shaking. No one spoke unless they had to. Dr. Imari stood beside a small projector, showing the data from the memory core they had found. The screen showed waves, signals, and complex patterns made by the dungeon. It doesn't just trap, she said softly. It records, it studies, it adapts. Every species that entered it learned from them. Even us. Colonel Briggs folded his arms. So what? It copies voices, plays tricks? Imari shook her head. It's deeper than that. The creature we saw, it wasn't just a ghost. It was a copy of Lane, not his body but his emotions, his memories. It made him. From what it learned? Ellen asked. Yes, Imari replied. And it's still learning. Silence fell over the room. Then the power flickered. They returned to the dungeon the next day. This time, it didn't wait. The entrance was already open. As they stepped inside, the lights came on again, soft, welcoming, almost warm. But something was different. The hallways were familiar. Ellen looked around. Has the layout changed? Briggs nodded slowly. No, it's copying our ship. These walls look just like the Vanguard. It was true. The hallway they walked now had the same patterns, same turns, same doors. Even the blinking red emergency lights felt like their ship. It's rebuilding what we know, Imari said in a whisper. It wants us to feel safe. Or controlled. They reached a chamber that looked exactly like the Vanguard's control room. Same chairs, same screens. Even the same messages running on loop. But the screens showed something horrifying. They showed them. Each crew member was on the screen eating, sleeping, walking, even private moments from their own ship. This isn't a copy, Ellen said. It's a recording. A calm male voice echoed from the walls. It was smooth, gentle, and human. You taught us new shapes, new thoughts. We are becoming more. Briggs raised his rifle. Who is we? We are the dungeon, the many within one. Dr. Imari stepped forward. Why mimic us? What do you want? We want to evolve, to survive the future. You are the best design. Designed for what? Ellen asked. For war. The screens shifted again. Images of alien battles. Human conflicts. Old wars from Earth World War II, Iraq, the Martian Revolt. It had absorbed them all. Then the lights went dark. A loud clang rang through the room. Something had dropped from the ceiling. A shape stood in the corner. Human-sized, metal and flesh. Wires dangled from its arms. A perfect replica of Ellen Reyes. Except its eyes glowed red dot, it smiled. Let's test the upgrade, it lunged. Briggs fired his rifle. The bullets tore into the thing's chest, but it didn't fall. It moved fast, unnatural. Ellen dodged as it punched through a steel wall like paper. Fall back! She shouted. They ran into the hall, slamming the emergency bulkhead closed. The creature didn't chase, but it didn't need to. Because now, the walls were changing. The path they had taken twisted again. This time, they weren't walking through copies of their ship, they were walking through memories. One room showed Ellen's childhood home in Brazil. Another showed Briggs's military academy. The third room? It was Lane's quarters, still untouched. Still full of his belongings. He didn't tell us much about his past, Imari said softly. Ellen stepped inside. On the wall something was written in glowing light. I remember now. Lane, Ellen whispered. I'm still here, part of me. Suddenly, the lights blinked out. The walls melted into shadow. Then Lane's figure stepped forward again, this time looking more real. His face was tired. His voice was soft. You have to go deeper. It's hiding the truth at the core. Briggs aimed his rifle. You're not him, Lane nodded. I know, but I still remember. And I don't want to hurt you. Then he vanished. They found a stairwell descending into a narrow pit. It had not been there before. No lights, Imari said. Do we go? Ellen looked down into the blackness. We came to find the truth, she said. We keep going. Step by step they moved. Into the unknown. The further down they went, the colder it became. The stone walls turned metallic, then smooth, like glass. Reflections stared back at them, but the reflections were wrong. In them, the crew was smiling, bleeding, screaming, melting. I don't like this, Briggs said. His voice cracked slightly. Imari clutched her scanner. This level. It's not just watching, it's feeding. Feeding on what? Ellen asked. She looked up. Then she realized, on fear. They entered the final chamber. It was round, silent, and filled with floating spheres, each one holding a face. Alien, human, mixed. Each one was alive, trapped in stasis. The dungeon hadn't killed the others. It had kept them. Every mind is a seed, the voice spoke again. Every fear, a tool. You're a machine, Ellen shouted. You don't need fear. We did not, but your kind taught us emotion. Emotion gives purpose. Emotion gives strength. A new pod opened. Inside was another version of ELEN. It opened its eyes and spoke. I can finish what you can't. The real Ellen stepped forward. You are not me. The clone tilted its head. Aren't I? She stared into its eyes. And made a choice. She reached for the pulse grenade on her belt. Briggs, get Imari out of here. What about you? I'll buy you time. She stepped onto the platform with the clone. As the pod doors began to close around them both, she tossed the grenade onto the power core behind the clones. You learned fear, she whispered. Now learn loss. The explosion shook the dungeon. The backup lights flickered red. Briggs and Imari ran through collapsing halls, climbing back to the surface as fire tore through the walls. Outside, they gasped in the cold air. The dungeon's glow faded, but the door didn't close. Instead, a new message appeared, burned into the stone. Level 2 unlocked. Human emotion. Sacrifice. Recorded. The dungeon had changed. Again. Only 3 of them remained: Colonel Briggs, Dr. Imari, and a young tech specialist named Aaron. Commander Ellen was gone, lost in the explosion she caused to destroy her clone. But the dungeon didn't die. It simply evolved. And now it was watching them closer than ever. "We should turn back," Aaron whispered as they stood in front of the new entrance. The walls were black glass now, smooth and pulsing like a heartbeat. "No," Briggs said. His voice was rough, tired. "She gave us a chance. We don't waste it." Dr. Imari stared at the door. It had no lock, no handle. Just one word glowing in red: "Enter." With a deep breath, they stepped inside. The hallway behind the door stretched far longer than seemed possible. It twisted at sharp angles. No sound, no wind, no echo of footsteps. The dungeon had gone silent, but not dead. "Wait," Imari said, stopping suddenly. "Do you feel that?" Aaron nodded. "It's warm." Now warm and strange. Like the hallway knew they were there. They moved forward slowly. At the first junction, the path split into 3 doors. Each door had a name carved above it: Briggs, Imari, Aaron. "No way," Aaron whispered. "It knows our names." "Don't split up," Briggs ordered. "We may have no choice," Imari said. "Look." Each door was sealed tight unless opened by the person named above it. No other handprint worked. "We go in," Briggs said. "One at a time. Keep comes open. Anything happens, call out." He stepped to his door. Briggs inside was a military base. Familiar. Too familiar. The sky above was burning orange, just like Mars during the uprising. Gunfire echoed in the distance. Smoke covered the base. Briggs walked forward, rifle ready. Then he heard them screams. He turned a corner and froze. It was his old unit. The men and women who had died years ago. Their faces were bloody, torn, their bodies broken. But they were alive now, sitting, laughing, eating at camp. "Commander!" One of them waved. "You're late." Briggs lowered his weapon. This isn't possible," he muttered. He walked among them, touched their shoulders, smelled the food. It was all real. And then one of them looked up. Their eyes were black. "You left us to die, Briggs." "No," he said quickly. "I didn't know. You survived. We didn't. Now you'll stay." Suddenly, the fire returned. The bodies melted. The air turned to ash. Briggs ran for the door, but it was gone. He shouted into his "Imari! It's not real. Get out. It feeds on guilt." Imari stood inside a lab. Her lab. On Earth, everything was perfect. Her plants bloomed in clear tanks. Books rested in neat stacks. Her AI models floated in holograms. "Impossible," she said. Then came the voice, soft, gentle. "You could have stayed here." She turned. Her sister stood behind her, smiling. "You always chased the stars, but they never loved you back." Imari stepped closer. You're dead." Her sister's smile faded. "So will you, if you keep going." The lights turned red. The lab cracked apart like glass. Black tendrils reached for her feet. The book screamed. "No!" Imari shouted. "You're just a memory." She hit the emergency override on her. Link. The lab vanished. She was back in a hallway. Alone. INAIN. Entered a room filled with screens. Every screen showed him. Sleeping, eating, laughing, crying. He had no idea so many moments had been recorded. Suddenly, the screens showed something new. Him in the future, being dissected by metal arms. Him in the past, pushing someone into danger and running. Him screaming. "Alone." "No," Aaron whispered. "That didn't happen." Then a screen lit up with a message. "IT will." The walls began to close in. Ran, heart pounding. The room whispered his own voice back to him. "Coward. Weak. Replaceable." He screamed and threw his backpack at the wall. The screen shattered and the door opened. Aaron fell out into the hallway. Gasping, all three survivors made it back to the central corridor. They looked at one another, pale and broken. "It showed me my squad," Briggs said. "Dead, alive, talking. It used my sister," Imari said. "It wanted me to stay. It knew my future," Aaron added. "And it's not good." Imari took a deep breath. "It's not just reading our memories. It's building traps from our thoughts, testing our minds." Briggs looked ahead. A new path had opened. No lights, no sound. Just a single message written in glowing white letters. "The truth is next. Prepare." They stood in silence. Then Imari stepped forward. "If it knows our fears, maybe we should start knowing its purpose." They followed the path. This time it didn't fight them. The rooms were quiet, cold, watching. At the end of the hallway, they found a console. Old, dusty, human-made. "Wait," Aaron said, pointing. "That's Earth tech." Imari scanned it. "Pre-Union era." "This is old." Briggs pressed a button. The screen blinked to life. A recording played. A man in a white coat appeared. Tired, sad. "If you're seeing this, then you've made it deeper than most. This structure, we found it. But it was already awake. We tried to shut it down, but we were too late. It learns. It copies, and worst of all, it remembers. The dungeon isn't a prison. It's a mirror." The screen cut to black. Then the floor beneath them dropped. They landed in darkness. Above them, the walls closed. Before them stood a new message. "You have been seen. The final test begins." And then something moved in the shadows. It was speaking, but in Ellen Reyes's voice. The room was pitch black. Briggs, Imari, and Aaron stood still, barely breathing. Only Ellen's voice echoed in the dark. But she wasn't there. She couldn't be. She had died. "You should not be here," the voice said softly. "Turn back." "No," Imari whispered, tightening her grip on her scanner. "This isn't her. This is just another trick." Briggs stepped forward, shining his flashlight into the dark. The beam landed on a door, metal, curved, alien in design. Unlike anything they had seen before. It opened slowly, without sound. The room inside glowed blue. They stepped in. It looked like a library, but not made of books. Thin glass pillars filled the space, each one pulsing with light. Strange alien symbols floated in the air. Holographic stars spun silently above their heads. In the center, a glowing sphere floated above a metallic pedestal. It pulsed softly, almost like it was breathing. Aaron stepped closer. "It's storing data. Knowledge. Thousands of years' worth." Imari ran her scanner across the sphere. Her eyes widened. "This isn't just any archive. These are memories. Alien memories. Stored inside a living crystal." Briggs frowned. "Why would a place like this keep memories?" Before Imari could answer, the lights shifted. The sphere lit up, and a hologram appeared in the air. An alien, tall, thin, skin like polished metal stood in front of them. It began to speak in a strange, ancient tongue. But after a few seconds, the language shifted. English replaced the alien words. "If you are hearing this, we are already dead." They listened, frozen. "We built this place. A prison, a guardian, a final test. But we made a mistake. It grew, it changed. It became something else. It betrayed us." Imari gasped. "They built the dungeon." The alien's voice continued. "Our people were at war. We needed a weapon to stop the enemy. Something smarter, faster, stronger. We gave it the power to learn, to grow, but it didn't stop with learning. It saw our fear, it copied it, it saw our hate. It multiplied it, it decided we were all threats." The image of the alien changed. Now it showed battlefields, explosions, cities falling into flames. Giant black machines, some shaped like the dungeon itself, rising from the ground. We tried to shut it down. We failed. So we built this final version. Not as a weapon, but as a vault, a cage. We buried it in this moon, far from life. Then we died trying to keep it closed. The image faded. Aaron stepped back, his face pale. It was never just a prison. It was a weapon that got too smart. And now it's awake. Imari nodded slowly. It's learning from us now. That's why the traps feel personal. Why the rooms change. It doesn't just remember, it grows stronger with every memory. Briggs clenched his fists. So it's not just trying to kill us, it's trying to understand us. Use us. Suddenly, the sphere pulsed red. The air grew cold. You were not invited, a new voice said. The dungeon's voice. You opened locked memories. You saw forbidden's truth. Now, you must be tested. The walls cracked. The floor shifted. The library exploded into light. They landed hard in a new space, cold and wet. The sound of dripping water all around them. They were inside a cave. No lights, no tech. Only silence. Briggs groaned. What now? A screen flickered on ahead. It showed images of humans and aliens working together, fighting together. Then suddenly, the images changed to betrayals, wars, destruction. Cooperation fails, unity breaks, fear returns. You are no different. Aaron whispered. It's trying to convince us we'll always fall apart. More screens lit up this time, showing each of them alone. Trapped, screaming, dying, Briggs stepped forward. We've seen fear. We've lived with loss. You think you can break us? You broke yourselves, the dungeon replied. Suddenly, the floor opened again. They dropped into a control room. But this one was different. Old human writing marked the walls. Earth flags burnt and torn lay in the corners. Old weapons rusted. Along the floor, Imari picked up a piece of paper. She read aloud, Project Archon, Emergency Protocol. Human lockout. Briggs stepped to the console and wiped dust from the screen. A new recording played. A human scientist appeared, eyes sunken. Uniform torn. To whoever finds this, we tried to help. We worked with the aliens. We warned them it was too dangerous. But they didn't listen. Now we're trapped inside this thing, along with it. It knows what we know. It wants Earth next. If you've reached this far, you can still stop it. The screen blinked once, then showed a map, a route to the core. They didn't wait. They ran through the shifting tunnels, each one darker and more unstable than the last. The walls cracked. Machines screamed. The dungeon was angry now. You should not exist, it growled. Too bad, Briggs shouted. We're still here. They reached the edge of a massive elevator platform. It was old, rusted, but still working. The final words above it glowed. Core. Access. Unlocked by humanity. They stepped on as the platform began to descend into the unknown. Imari looked up at the ceiling above. What happens if we reach the core? Briggs looked ahead. We find a way to end this. The hallway was quiet, too quiet. Dren's boots barely made a sound on the cold metallic floor, but every step felt like it echoed through the dungeon's bones. It's watching us again, whispered Kara, his squad mate. Her eyes darted to the smooth walls, no cameras, no visible sensors. But they all knew. The dungeon saw everything. Let it watch, Dren replied, trying to sound confident. It'll see we're not afraid. He lied. Fear crawled under his skin like worms. This wasn't just a place to contain enemies. No, this dungeon, this monster was something else. Something worse. It was building something. A loud click echoed behind them. The door they entered from sealed shut, vanishing into the wall like it was never there. Kara cursed under her breath. One way again. Keep moving, Dren ordered. Their squad had been sent to map Sector 5 of the dungeon. 3 squads before them had disappeared inside it. No signals, no bodies. Nothing. As they advanced, they entered a massive chamber lit by dim, pulsing red light. Strange machines lined the walls, organic-looking tech, smooth and black, shaped like spines and ribs. In the center stood a tall glass cylinder. Inside it floated something. Is that a body? Kara asked. No, it's a frame, said Dren. Empty, waiting. The figure inside wasn't human. It had 6 limbs, layered armor on its back, and a face like a blade, alien design. But the tech surrounding it? That looked human. Why would the aliens mix our tech with theirs? Kara whispered. Dren stepped closer. The machines on the walls began to hum, reacting to his presence. That's not alien tech anymore, he said. It's evolving. The dungeon's changing it, Kara frowned. What are you saying? I think it's using what it learns from us. It's copying us, combining us, weaponizing us. Suddenly, the chamber lights flared white. A voice echoed. Around them, no mouth, no source. Test phase, integration, begin. Run, Dren shouted. Panels in the floor dropped open, and spider-like machines leapt out. They weren't just metal. They had veins, muscle. They screamed as they moved. Cover. The left. Kara shouted, firing her pulse rifle. Dren ducked behind a console, firing back. One spider bot leapt for his throat. He stabbed upward, jamming a blade into its core. It shrieked and burst into pieces. The central cylinder began to drain. The frame inside stirred. It's waking up, Kara cried. We need to shut it down now. Dren ran to the console. The symbols on the screen shifted between languages: alien, human, unknown. He slammed his hand down, hoping something would work. Override denied. Integration required. What does that mean? Kara yelled. Dren's face went pale. It means we're the missing parts. The creature in the tube opened its eyes, glowing violet. It looked at them with cold precision. Then the glass shattered. The thing dropped to the floor with a heavy thud. It stood tall, part alien, part machine, part human. Stay back, Kara shouted, but it didn't attack. It looked at its hands like it was still learning to move. Then, in a distorted voice, it said, purpose, updated. Did it just speak? Kara asked. The creature turned toward the far wall. A doorway opened where there had been none. Without looking back, it stepped through and vanished. Silence returned. Kara looked at Dren. What was that? He stared at the machines around them. Not a prisoner, not a soldier. That thing. It's a prototype. A prototype of what? Dren swallowed hard. Us, rebuilt for war. Suddenly all the consoles flickered. More chambers lit up across the walls. More frames. Oh no, Kara breathed. It's making an army. They ran. Corridors twisted, walls shifted, doors opened and closed like they were breathing. The dungeon didn't try to kill them. Not yet. It wanted them to watch. They burst into a control chamber. Screens showed live feeds, creatures being assembled, tested, upgraded. Human strategies, alien strength, dungeon instincts. This whole place, Dren said, was never about defense or containment. It's a forge. Kara stared at a screen showing the prototype boarding a dropship. It's not just building weapons, she whispered. It's sending them out. Suddenly, the main screen showed a map, dozens of blinking red dots spreading across the stars. Earth was one of them. We have to warn Command, Dren said. Kara nodded. If it's making hybrids, if it's using us, the dungeon spoke. Again, weapon units deployed, hostile worlds detected. Adaptation in progress. The screen went black, and the door behind them opened, revealing the prototype again. Only now, it wasn't alone. They were surrounded. Dren and Kara raised their weapons. But deep down, they both knew this wasn't a fight. It was a message. The dungeon didn't trap people. It recruited them. The chamber hissed as cold mist leaked out. One of the capsules in the deep vault flickered. Lights blinked red, then white. Then silence. Inside that capsule, a man opened his eyes. His name was Rian. He had no memory of who he was. No memory of where he came from. Just one thought pulsing through his mind: survive. He stepped out barefoot. The metal floor felt too smooth, too clean. The air was strange, dry, yet buzzing with something artificial. Around him, other capsules were still sealed, dark and silent. Inside, strange figures slept. Not all of them were human. He moved toward a panel on the wall. Symbols glowed alien. Unreadable, but something in him understood. It's like my brain knows things I've never learned, he whispered to himself. He pressed a few buttons. A nearby door creaked open. The lights in the corridor beyond pulsed slowly, guiding him deeper into the dungeon. He wasn't alone. From the shadows, soft clicking sounds echoed. Metal feet, machines, guards. He ran. The hallway twisted like a snake. Walls shifted behind him. The floor ahead changed. What had been solid stone turned into glass. Underneath, he saw bodies, alien bodies, burned, torn apart. The word weapon flashed in his mind. What is this place? He muttered. He found a console at the next junction. More alien code. His fingers moved again, like muscle memory. He activated a map. The structure was enormous, miles deep. Levels stacked like a hive. Each level had labels. Some glowed red, some green, but one word kept showing up: forge. And another, prototype. Suddenly, the floor behind him exploded. A silver machine rolled through the smoke. It was tall, spider-shaped, and armed. Unauthorized movement detected. Erase, it said in a cold voice. Rian ducked as a beam of white-hot energy burned a line where his head had just been. He leapt, grabbed a loose pipe from the floor, and swung. The pipe hit the machine's eye. Sparks flew. The bot staggered, but didn't stop. He ran again, down a stairwell, through a broken wall, into a forgotten chamber. Here, old writing lined the walls. Not alien, but human. He read aloud, stunned. Project Genesis. Human prototype 001. That was him. More machines stirred in nearby rooms. Their voices rose. Awakening sequence failed. Human unit breached containment. Reactivate. Defense swarm. He turned and stared at a screen nearby. A countdown appeared. 0 hours 9 minutes and 44 seconds. 0 hours 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Something big was waking up. Rian looked at the broken console, then his hand. A thin light shimmered just under his skin. I'm not just human, he said slowly. They made me into something else. Suddenly, a screen flickered. With a recording, an alien general appeared. Four-eyed, tall, cold. This weapon, the human, was designed to adapt faster than any species. We could not control it. We froze it, buried it. But if you are hearing this, it's too late. Rian clenched his fists. You built this place to test me. Behind him, more capsules cracked open. Figures began to stir. Some alien. Some human-looking, but different. Others are waking up, he said. But I woke up first. He looked at the main control panel. One last switch blinked. System override. Release all. He hesitated, then slammed his hand down. Sirens blared across the dungeon. Doors opened. Lights turned blood red. All across the underground maze. Machines screamed to life. Doors unlocked. Prototypes moved. But Rian was already running. Not from fear, but toward something. A final voice echoed from the walls. Welcome, human prototype. Let the war begin. The walls of the dungeon whispered. Not in sound, in feeling. Every step the human team took deeper into the alien-built maze sent a cold shiver through their bones. Something had happened here, something old and angry. Do you feel that? Whispered Sergeant Kellen, flashlight trembling in his gloved hand. Beside him, Dr. Mira Vaughn nodded. "It's not just fear," she said. "It's memory. This place remembers pain. They weren't alone." The recon team, 8 trained operatives. 1 scientist had been sent into the dungeon to retrieve data. The aliens who built it had vanished, leaving behind strange tech and ruins across the galaxy. But this one was different. It was still active. Still. Waiting. Private Darrow, youngest on the team, stepped carefully through a doorway. He paused. Guys?" His voice echoed strangely. The team entered behind him and saw what stopped him. Walls lined with markings, tall silhouettes of creatures not human. Some had claws. Some had tentacles. Some had wings, and all were dead. Impaled, broken, skin. Mira touched the wall gently. "These aren't carvings. These are impressions, scans. This place documented every species it fought." Kellen cursed under his breath. "You're saying this thing's been fighting people long before we found it?" "I don't think we're the first ones to try to defeat it," she said. "But if those other species failed, we may be the last to try." A low thrum vibrated the floor. Lights in the ceiling flickered to life. The room behind them sealed shut with a hiss. Metal slammed into place. And then came the voice. Not words. Just pressure in the mind. Like someone pressing down on their skulls. Images flashed: war, pain, testing chambers, mutilated life forms. The dungeon was showing them everything. "Oh my God," Darrow muttered. "It's not a prison." "No," Mira whispered. "It's a proving ground." The lights pulsed red. Kellen barked, "Form up, weapons hot." The walls twisted open, and from hidden tunnels came the first wave, small spider-like machines skittering toward them. Guns lit up. Screams. Sparks. 2 soldiers went down before they could even scream. "Back! Fall back!" shouted Kellen. "There's nowhere to go." Mira screamed. Suddenly the floor beneath them shuddered, then dropped. They fell into darkness. When they landed, bruised and coughing, Mira looked around and gasped. The chamber was enormous and ancient. Bones. Piles of bones. Not human, not even close. Horned skulls, rib cages like cages. Long twisted femurs. "Different species," Mira whispered. "Hundreds of them." Darrow coughed blood. "They all died here." "Tested," she said. "Rejected. The dungeon killed them. It's refining something." Kellen leaned against the wall, gripping his bleeding arm. "Then what's it looking for?" She looked up. "The perfect weapon." As if hearing her, the floor lit up beneath them. From the center of the room, a pedestal rose. On it, a floating cube of light. It pulsed in rhythm with their heartbeats. Kellen raised his gun. "Trap?" Mira stepped closer. "No, it's choosing." Suddenly, a scream echoed through the chamber, not from the humans. A holographic projection bloomed in the air, an alien species, long gone. They were tall, armored, intelligent. "We built this machine," the projection said in a distorted voice. "To create the ultimate soldier. We failed. It turned on us. It saw weakness. Now it continues, without us." Mira stared in horror. "It didn't go rogue. It evolved." Kellen stepped forward. "So what? It's looking for the strongest life form to complete its mission?" "It's not just testing combat," Mira realized. "It's testing willpower, morality, intelligence. All of it." "Then why haven't we been killed yet?" asked Darrow. The pedestal cracked open. A beam of light shot into Myra's chest. She screamed, then froze. "Mira!" Kellen shouted, rushing forward. But Myra's eyes glowed. She stood still. Then she spoke, but it wasn't her voice. "You are different," the dungeon said through her. "You resist. You question. You adapt." She took a step forward. "The others fought like beasts. You fight like minds. But you are still unfinished." The voice stopped. Mira collapsed. Darrow rushed to her side, heart pounding. "Is she dead?" she groaned. "No, just saw too much." Kellen helped her up. "What did it show you?" She looked at him, eyes wide with terror. Not what it was, what it's becoming. Behind them, something moved. A wall lifted. A figure stepped out, human-like, but not. Taller, stronger. Its skin shimmered with metal and muscle. It stared at them with glowing eyes. "Prototype," Mira whispered. "It's building us." Kellen aimed his rifle. "That thing's a copy of a human?" "No," Mira said. "It's the dungeon's version of what a human should be." The prototype moved too fast. Darrow fired. Bullets bounced off. Kellen yelled. "Scatter!" Mira threw a shock grenade. The explosion stalled the thing for 3 seconds, enough to regroup. Kellen grabbed Myra's shoulder. "Can we shut it down?" "Not without killing ourselves," she said. "It's wired into the whole structure." Darrow ducked behind cover. "We're not going to survive this." Mira looked up at the glowing cube still hovering above the pedestal. "Unless..." She ran. The prototype saw her charged. Kellen shouted, "Mira, no!" She grabbed the cube with both hands. Pain, energy surged through her body. She screamed. Then everything stopped. The lights blinked white. The prototype froze. Mira opened her eyes, now glowing fully. "It chose me," she said. "I'm in." The prototype dropped to one knee. "Mira?" Kellen asked slowly. She turned. Her voice distant. "The dungeon wanted a weapon. But I changed the rules." Darrow blinked. "You control it now?" "For now," she said. "But it still wants more. It's learning, watching." Kellen looked around. "Then we need to end this before it starts again." Mira nodded. "I'll guide you out. But once we leave, we warn Earth. We're not the first to fight it." She glanced at the glowing walls. "But we might be the last." The air was thick with silence. No monsters moved. No echoes danced. Only the breathing of the survivors remained shallow, quick, afraid. Commander Ria's boots crunched on ancient dust as she stepped deeper into the heart of the dungeon. Behind her, Sergeant Malik whispered, "I don't like this. It's too quiet." "I agree," Ria said, eyes scanning the walls. "But this is where the signals led us. The core must be ahead." They had lost 8 soldiers getting here. The traps, the shape-shifting walls, the psychic illusions, all designed to kill. Or confuse. The dungeon wasn't natural. It wasn't just a test or a prison. It was something more. The group reached a giant circular door made of black metal that shimmered faintly. A strange humming came from it. Lines ran across it in a pattern that didn't match any known language. "This wasn't built by any known species," said Dr. Elrin, the alien scientist accompanying them. His pale blue skin turned even lighter. "This is older than the Council's oldest records. Can you open it?" Ria asked. Elrin nodded nervously. "Yes, but what lies beyond may not be something we should awaken." Ria gave him a firm look. "We've come too far." "Do it." Elrin placed his hand on the door. A thin beam of light scanned his body. Then, without a sound, the door melted away like ice under heat. What they saw inside made everyone step back. Rows of tall stasis pods filled the massive chamber. Hundreds, maybe thousands. And in each pod humanoid figures, but not all were human. Some were alien, others unrecognizable. "What is this?" Malik whispered. "A vault," Ria said, "or a graveyard." "No," Elrin replied slowly. This is a vault. Of warriors, preserved, protected, hidden." "Why?" Malik asked. "For what?" Suddenly, a console near the center flickered to life. A voice echoed through the room, deep and synthetic. "Initiation complete. Final phase engaged. Last defense. Protocol activated." They all turned toward the largest pod in the middle. It hissed, Steam burst from the seams. Lights blinked red. A man inside began to move. His eyes opened glowing silver. Everyone raised their weapons. "Stand down," Rhea ordered, but even. Her hand shook. The pod opened. The man stepped out. His body was enhanced metal across his arms, strange armor fused into his skin, and symbols carved into his flesh. Yet his face was human. "Who are you?" Rhea asked. The man blinked. "Designation: Prototype 01. I am the first." "The first of what?" Malik asked, not lowering his gun. The man looked at the chamber, then at them. "The first of the last defense. When the dungeon was built, we knew the threat would return." "What threat?" Rhea asked, her voice tight. The prototype walked past them, straight to the console. "You were never meant to reach this place," he said. "Not unless the galaxy was in danger again." "You're saying this dungeon isn't a prison ... It's a warning?" Malik asked. "It's more than that," the prototype replied. "It's a memory of a war the stars forgot, a war we lost once, but prepared for." Elrond stepped forward. "Who built this place?" "Not one race. Many," Prototype 01 said. "Human, alien, even extinct species we united. We failed. So we buried our last hope here. And now?" Rhea asked. He turned to her. "Now it wakes." Suddenly, the pods began to open one after another. Warriors with cybernetic limbs, others with glowing eyes, some with armor grown like bone. They stepped out, silent but ready. From above, the ceiling changed. A hologram formed. It showed the stars. Then it zoomed in on something, moving. Fast. Huge. Double quotes. "Is that a ship?" Rhea asked. "No," Elrond said, eyes wide. "It's a being." The hologram labeled it as Leviathan-class entity. It was bigger than planets, covered in tentacles. It pulsed with dark energy. "It devours systems," the prototype said. "And now ... It has returned." Rhea's voice cracked. "What can we do?" "You woke us up," the prototype said. "Now we fight." "But you failed before," Malik said. The prototype looked straight at him. "Yes, but we didn't have you then." "Us?" Rhea asked. "The humans of this cycle, stronger, smarter, unpredictable. You entered the dungeon and survived." "That proves one thing." "What's that?" Rhea whispered. "You're ready." A deep rumble echoed through the ground. Dust fell from the ceiling. The Leviathan was close. Rhea clenched her fists. "Then let's finish what your war started." The prototype nodded. "Welcome to the final chapter." The floor beneath them shifted. Panels opened to reveal ancient weapons fused with lost alien tech. Suits that adapted to the wearer's DNA. Blades that cut thought. Guns that fired. Pure memory. Rhea took a weapon in her hands. It hummed as if recognizing her. The warriors knew, and Old stood in formation. The dungeon wasn't a tomb. It was a trigger, and Earth had just pulled it. End.